Hi, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Beyond the Cage. I'm your host, Jim Graham, and joining me today on the line, we have a special guest. He will be fighting on the main card of UFC on Fox 17, better known as UFC Orlando. He is Mr. Michael Johnson. And Michael, thanks for coming on Beyond the Cage.
Thank you guys for having me.
Now, just a few weeks ago, Michael, we had Thanksgiving, so I was wondering, how was your Thanksgiving for 2015?
It was good. It was a really good Thanksgiving. Now I got to spend some time with my girlfriend's family back in Florida, and then I moved over and I spent some time with Rashad. That was, he had his family come in, and we had a really good Thanksgiving at his place as well. Because unfortunately, I couldn't make it back home because of this fight I got coming up sometime. I think Saturday, but. No, it was a good Thanksgiving, and I was able to eat and everything, so it was perfect.
Now, of course, Michael, you train with the Black Zillions there in Florida. This fight is in Orlando, pretty close to home. So is it nice to be having a fight that close to your training camp?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's nice because I can get all my friends and, the family I have in Florida and everybody to come up and support if they can make it. So it's 2.5 hour drive, and kind of almost feels like a hometown fight for me.
Now, you have a few teammates there at the Black Zillions that will be fighting on the card. First up, you have Vicente Luque as he takes on Hader Hassan, and I was wondering, what do you think about that fight for Vicente?
That's going to be an incredible rematch, definitely. They fought on the show, and I believe Vicente won that fight. Of course, being in ATT's gym, they didn't really think of it that way. So, unfortunately, he lost a decision. But, it's going to be a great fight. He's going to go in there and get the victory.
One of your other teammates fighting on the card is Kamaru Usman, who actually won that season of The Ultimate Fighter that you're referring to. And he will be taking on Leon Edwards. And what do you think about that fight for Usman?
Again, that's another incredible fight. Leon Edwards he's a crafty stand-up guy, but Kamaru Usman, I think, is on a whole different level. His wrestling's on a whole different level, and he trains with the best team, and he's one of the best guys we have in the gym. So I'm pretty sure he's going to come in and get his a pretty good victory after the show.
Now, a guy that used to train with you at the Black Zillions, Alistair Overeem, he will be in the co-main event of the evening against Junior Dos Santos in the heavyweight division. And what do you think about Overeem against JDS?
It seems like a pretty good fight to watch. I don't know who's going to come out on top of that. We're just going to have to wait and see on Saturday. But, it's definitely an intriguing matchup for those heavyweights.
Of course, weigh-ins are coming up, so I was wondering, how is your weight looking for the weigh-ins on Friday?
The weight's pretty good. It's easy. I'm pretty much dead on weight. I'm about 2-3 pounds over, just relaxing, drinking some water and knocking some interviews out. My weight has to be the least of my worries during fight week. I can't focus on my weight cut out in fight week. That's not the important thing. Is the fight, and that's what I need to stay focused on, and keep all my energy focused on the fight. So I like to make my weight cut pretty easy coming into this week.
Your last fight was against Beneil Dariush in Nashville. Now, you ended up losing that fight, but you had a great performance, and I was wondering, was that one of the most frustrating losses you've ever had in your career so far, Michael?
Absolutely, because it's a loss that shouldn't be on my record. It definitely was a win in my eyes, in the eyes of many. Those judges got it wrong that night, and hopefully, they do something to where they won't make that mistake again for another fighter who goes out there and puts everything on the line. He fights his heart out, and our job as fighters is to go in here and fight and entertain the fans. And that job was complete, and it was a job well done. These judges only have one job, and it's to get the fight right, and they got it wrong when it went to decisions. So, hopefully something happens about it and they change the way they look at fights now.
Now, if the opportunity present itself, would you want a rematch against Beneil or not?
Absolutely not. I'm on a whole different mission now. Benil's in the past. He's not even fighting again for a while or something. I don't know about him. Not really paying attention, but my mission is that title shot, and Benil's still behind me. So everybody on my radar is in front of me, and that's the title shot and the guys who I need to beat to get there, and he's not one of us anymore.
Got to ask you about this, Michael. Of course, last week, UFC 194, Conor McGregor defeats Jose Aldo for the UFC 145 title. After the fight, Dana White said that Conor could either fight at 145 or for the 155 title for his next fight. And considering you're one of the top contenders in your division at 155, what do you think about Conor possibly fighting for that lightweight title for his next fight?
Well, he's a champion in his division, so it makes sense if he were to switch divisions to immediately fight for the title. I think he has that right, and I think he's earned that right winning the title in his division. But on the other hand, he's not ready to come up to this division and fight for a title or even fight the top guys in the division. I feel that we're too good, and we possess a lot of skills that the featherweights that he beat don't possess. So it'll be pretty interesting to see if he comes up. But if he comes up, he comes up. But right now he's a featherweight, and I'm not really worried about him until he finally makes that move to lightweight.
Now, very similar to your last fight, you're taking on a guy with a very good jiu-jitsu background. So I was wondering, are you worried at all about going to the ground against Nate Diaz?
No, I'm not worried about it at all. I'm a mixed martial artist. I train every aspect of the game, from my striking down to my jiu-jitsu. Everybody knows my jiu-jitsu was a weak point in my career, but we've been working on that. Me and George Santiago, we have a great coach now in Neil Melanison that he's really opened my eyes to a lot more things on the ground. So I'm not really worried about going to the ground, and I don't plan on going to the ground with Nate. It's not my fight style. I plan on going in there, beating him up on my feet, and getting a win.
Now, in his last fight and sometimes in his career, Nate Diaz has shown that he's very susceptible to leg kicks. And I was wondering if you plan on using a lot of leg kicks against Diaz as well.
Yeah, of course. That's a little piece of my game plan. I'm not going to say it's my whole game plan. And I would think at this point right now, Nate would have been working on checking leg kicks, because that seems like his weak point. So I'm not going to go in here and just keep firing off leg kicks thinking that's going to win me the fight. The goals that are going to win me this fight are my striking and my speed and my movement, and he's not going to be able to handle that come Saturday.
Of course, the main event for your fight there in Orlando is for your division's title, the lightweight title, as the Cowboy Donald Cerrone takes on Rafael Dos Anjos. And how do you think that one's going to play out between the Cowboy and RDA?
It's going to be an incredible matchup. I think I don't see Dos Anjos winning this one. I think Cowboy's going to take this rematch back. He's been on an incredible streak, and Cowboy is one of the fighters that a loss really gets to him. I guarantee it's been glooming on him for years leading up into this fight. So I think he's going to come in on a different level. He's fighting way more relaxed, and he's just on a tear right now. So I don't see him taking any steps back.
All right, Michael, I'll get you out of here with this. Considering how the title picture is looking right now, and if you are able to defeat Nate Diaz, what do you think's next for you?
That should give me a title shot right away. I'm not going to accept anything less than that. I've put in my time. I've paid my dues, and now I'm on a nice little win streak, and I'm beating, great guys and guys at the top of the division. So once I get through Nate Diaz, there's no question that I should be fighting for that title next.
Once again, he is Michael Johnson. You can follow him on Twitter at @FollowTheMetis. And Michael, thanks again for coming on the show. I really appreciate it and wish you the best of luck against Nate Diaz.
All right, perfect. Thank you, guys.
Once again, that was Michael Johnson right here on Beyond the Cage.